Hey guys, welcome to another episode of WoW Weekly with Myst. And for this week's events, we have not a whole lot going on, but it will be the Call to Arms Deepwind Gorge, and then also the World Quest will be the weekly, which I guess is kind of fitting because the rep buff is complete now. And so, it's kind of nice to have an event right after that ends that also gives you bonus rep. It's not as much, but you'll get 50% bonus rep to the world quests and BFA. Also, the experience buff is still going on and will be going on for, I would say, at least a month. It ends when the Shadowlands pre-patch shows up, which we have no date on so far. And that is basically all that's going on for the weekly events for this week. As for my accomplishments this week, it actually wasn't a bad week for accomplishing stuff. So I started the Volpera out this week sitting at level 72. And I'm now level 87. And that's off probably a couple of days. I didn't level the Volpera too terribly much this week, but a couple of days in stream of leveling that character. So that's not bad. That's going to continue to be the goal for this week. I'm going to get the Volpera basically through Draenor, and once I'm in Legion, we'll move over to another character. I'm not going to level the Volpera like straight through the full, all the way to 120. In Legion, I'm going to take advantage of some invasion stuff while I focus, many levels on another allied race. But nonetheless, it'll be the Volpera for this week. So the goal is to take that 87 all the way to 100. Also, I got the Uncorrupted Voidwing, so that was very cool. That is the AOTC mount. And then shortly after exiting the raid, I went and did the Nashtar World Quest, because that was on the map for this weekend, this past weekend. And ironically got the Royal Snapdragon, which was amazing to me because there's like 2 or 3 mounts I'm still working towards in Legion, and I stay current with content, so I've been farming those Paragon caches for mounts for 4 years now, roughly. And and I got this one off, not really doing too many bonuses, but yeah, thanks to that rep buff, I was able to get, I'd say probably a couple of bonus caches. Basically it for my accomplishments. There is also the rep that I'm farming on the Death Knight. So this right here is the progression on rep. As you can see, I didn't make the Exalted with the other two, but it's really close. It's in the Revered. Zandalari is very close to the end of Revered. And, Honor Bound is pretty close. Turtles is actually on the board for today, which I'm recording this on Sunday, so it still gives me a day of rep. I can get another 3,000 basically off the turtles, bring it a little closer. I was hoping for some more rep with Unshackled, but I'm not willing to turn in the pearls I have on my Death Knight. I want to keep those for the mount. So I'll see what my other alts have for the pearls, but I already did that big hand in that you guys may have seen the video last week on. So that got me, pretty much from honored to revered. And yeah, so I'm not too concerned. I am in revered. It's almost at half basically, so I'm not too terribly concerned if no more mana pearls get handed in. I am going to be checking that tonight, just to make sure, so that I get it done before Monday morning rolls around. The other reps, of course I do want them, but they weren't priority because they didn't involve an allied race, and it's all to take advantage of the experience buff pretty much. So yeah, rep is still gonna be a focus. Just because the rep buff is done doesn't mean I'm not gonna do those anymore. Like I still need to get those to Exalted, so that will remain a focus. And actually this week's a great week for it anyway, because we still have a rep buff, just not the 100%, but because of this week being World Quest week, you guys will have 50% added. So obviously I still want to take advantage of that. The 50% is just for the world quests, like it's not for the hand-in, but still good. Okay, so that pretty much that's pretty much it on weekly events going on for this week and my progression and accomplishments. Just to recap and make some goals for next week, it'll be we'll make a goal to get Zandalari to Exalted. And then of course there's getting the Volpera from 87 to 100. And I'm also gonna be returning to the Druid this week. Since the rep buff was, really good for the 100%, I put the Druid on hold because that buff was not affecting the new reps. And so now I want to return back to those new reps and get that rep out of the way, get it to Exalted. Here is a quick little recap on where I was sitting. It's been on hold for a month, so I'll work on that Aldum and Vale. Okay, so on to news. So the first bit of news has to do with Najtar. So there's been a hot fix where now the rare elite that you kill out in Najtar with war mode on will drop 1 Najtar battle commendation. The next piece of news is kind of on the topic of the rep buff being done with. They have made a comment that is going to get replaced with another buff. At the time of recording this video, which is Sunday night, they haven't mentioned what that buff is, and I imagine we wouldn't know until technically the rep buff is gone, which will be around the time this video posts. If they happen to let us know this week what the new buff will be, I will return back to this video and I'll pin it. So just, if you're watching the video right now and you want to know if maybe something was mentioned, just look at the comments, and if you see a pinned comment from me, chances are it is info regarding that. The rumor is that it sounds like it might be related to visions or something. Personally, I could give two shits about a buff that has to do with the visions, or even one that has to do with your neck. I'm at the point where I really don't give a shit about that stuff now. I just want to level alts and catch up rep. Like, I think those two buffs were the perfect buffs to give people, because that is stuff that helps people in the next expansion. Now, another thing that I'll just mention is the buff that they plan on replacing with the rep. It sounds like it's gonna be possibly the last one we get. They made it sound like it was gonna be permanent as an alt catch-up system, One of the definite speculated things that it will be is a corruption vendor. So yeah, and it seems to be one that a lot of people want. The next thing for news is a new board game for WoW. It's called Small World of Warcraft. This is a short little 30-second clip of them advertising it.
To battle!
It could be great. You know, I actually bought a World of Warcraft board game like years ago. That one was an adventure game though. Yeah. I believe it's actually called World of Warcraft Adventure Game, whereas this one definitely looks much different than what that one was, but it still looks like it could be interesting depending on your take on board games. And the last piece of news I have for you, it has nothing to do with World of Warcraft. This is Diablo related, but it was announced earlier this week, well, earlier last week, that there will be a remaster of Diablo 2. And I think that would be a great one, because Diablo 2 is definitely the most loved out of all the Diablo games. It's going to be titled Diablo 2 Resurrected. I feel like this one is going to be a tough one for them, though, because while it's going to be, one that many people want, I think their fuck-ups with Warcraft 3 Reforged is going to put a lot of pressure on them for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, one thing I would like to mention regarding this is I don't think, in the post it says potential remaster coming late 2020, and while I feel like people think that's a release, and it's possible it could be, but I personally feel like in late 2020 we're gonna see a trailer or something, or an announcement. This seems to kind of come out of the blue, and Blizzard usually lets us know when things are showing up. Okay, so that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of WoW Weekly with Myst, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.